12. The news at noon starts right now.
Just in the past hour, the San Antonio City Council declaring racism is a public health crisis.
City Hall reporter Garrett Berger has been monitoring the discussion around the resolution they just passed. He joins us now live from the newsroom to tell us what it all contains. Garrett?
Well, at the heart of this resolution is the idea that various communities of color have experienced a history of racism in San Antonio and the country at large, and that they face worse outcomes when it comes to their health, employment, education, and housing. One of the driving forces of the resolution, District 2 Councilwoman Jada Andrew Sullivan, got emotional as she read the document out loud during the council meeting today. The resolution doesn't immediately change anything, but it does include promises on things like regular presentations on what the city's doing to improve racial equity and engaging historically marginalized communities to develop policy solutions for local issues related to health equity. Several residents calling in urged the council to make sure they put action behind the words, and council members acknowledged that this is just a start. One thing we heard come up from residents, and which popped up again in the written submitted comments too, was a call to defund SAPD. The city's in the middle of its budgeting process, and activists have expressed frustration that the city has not moved to cut the police budget. Now, the vote was unanimous except for District 8's Manny Pelaez, who was absent, and District 10's Clayton Perry, who abstained from voting. Though he denounced racism, Councilman Perry said he felt some of the language in the front part of the resolution, which contained examples of historic racism, was divisive, and his recommendations to change the language were turned down. Live in the newsroom, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. We have new details this noon about a shooting and possible kidnapping on the city's north side. We're now learning a man was held for over a day, and the incident may have stemmed from a drug deal.
That is according to police. They tell us that they were called to the 500 block of Craigmont yesterday at around 5 p.m. At the scene, officers say that they saw 5 suspects stuffing a man into a car trunk. After following the suspects, police stopped the vehicle just down the road near Blanco Street and General Kruger. Everyone in the car was detained. Police say one person told them he was shot in the foot, but he wouldn't answer any questions about it. That person also tied up with a rope, and police say that he had been held for more than 24 hours. After getting a search warrant, police say they found a gun, bloody clothing, and illegal drugs in the car as well. The suspects were booked on narcotics charges. They are listed as suspects for aggravated assault and aggravated kidnapping.
A Southwest Side house fire overnight appears to be suspicious to at least one woman. Arson investigators still have not determined the cause of that fire, but a neighbor says the house at the corner of Lark Valley and Walnut Valley has been vacant for years. As Katrina Weber reports, she had to move out of her own home when the flames and smoke broke out next door.
Firefighters were playing a losing game of catch-up, battling a fire that had a head start. Photos from KSAT viewer Irma New show it burning through the roof of the home on Lark Valley.
I thought it was my backyard, and no, when I checked, it was the house, and we got out our kids because it's close to where we live.
A knock on her door had Sandra Sandoval and her family getting up and out of their home next door.
We had to go get our dogs, of course. You could feel the heat. You could just feel all the heat to your face.
She was worried her home might feel it too.
So if it wouldn't been for a neighbor calling or knocking on our door, I don't know, God, we don't know what would have happened.
Fire crews that got here shortly after 3 this morning knew they couldn't fight this fire alone. They brought in a ladder truck for help. Firefighters told me the minute they opened these doors, they could see the flames and smoke from this station here on Ray Ellison. It's actually right around the corner from the house. Their short trip to the trouble spot turned into a 2-hour job. They had to knock down some walls to keep them from collapsing. Firefighters say no one was inside. The house was vacant.
There's never been a light on, so I don't think that was an accident, personally.
While Sandoval has her suspicions about how the fire started, arson investigators were called in to find out for sure. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
A man is recovering after he was hit by a driver while walking in the middle of a northwest side street. It happened around 7:30 this morning after police say that the driver was traveling right in the middle of the road in the 200 block of Glenview Drive. We're told the driver was actually trying to avoid hitting trash cans. The driver told police she didn't see the man in the road because the sun was blocking her eyes. Police tell us the man was bleeding from his head, but it's not yet clear how serious those injuries may be. A new look at noon. Some Texans who receive unemployment benefits could soon get an extra $300 a week. This is for people who are unemployed due to the pandemic. Governor Greg Abbott says the Texas Workforce Commission applied for additional unemployment benefit funding through the president's Lost Wage Assistance Executive Order. If granted, this funding will provide an additional $300 per week in benefits for qualifying Texans receiving unemployment benefits. Those who are eligible should expect to see that extra money in the first payment request on or after August 23, 2020.
Across Bexar County, health officials reporting 191 new cases of COVID-19. That lowers the 7-day average to 143 cases per day. 19 more deaths were also reported yesterday, including one person under the age of 18. Those deaths all occurred between July 13 and August 17th. Although the overall number of cases continues to drop, the percentage of cases in children doubled from June to August to about 12.5%. There are now more than 5.5 million confirmed 19 cases here in the U.S., and more than 173,000 Americans have died from the virus. There is also a new study that shows children can carry higher levels of COVID-19 in their systems than adults who've been hospitalized. This as many schools struggle with reopening during the pandemic. Rena Roy has more.
Back to school this year for millions of American students is unlike any other. New York University is setting up a mandatory COVID testing tent for all students and faculty, with some in-person classes set to resume. Nearby Columbia University starting the fall semester fully online. At Kent State, smaller class sizes, limited activities, and fewer students living on campus.
We know there will be positive cases on campus. As you also see at other institutes of higher education, that's a reality.
Some schools already facing repercussions after reopening in-person instruction, with thousands of students from elementary school to the university level in quarantine coast to coast. UNC, Chapel Hill, and Notre Dame both with growing clusters of cases, some now reversing course and switching to remote learning. And today, new evidence that kids, even those without symptoms, could be largely driving the pandemic.
And there have been some studies to show that children from 10 to 19 can transmit to adults as easily as adults transmit to adults.
The Journal of Pediatrics looked at nearly 200 people from newborns to 22-year-olds who were hospitalized or went to urgent care, finding many carried a viral load significantly higher than hospitalized adults. Researchers also implied schools may have to focus on testing rather than temperature checks, because even asymptomatic kids could have high levels of COVID-19, and others may just have symptoms similar to that of the common cold. In Florida, the state's largest teachers union is suing to stop in-person learning, as the state just recorded more than 10,000 deaths.
I've chosen my students over so many difficult things, but I can't put my family at risk.
New cases are going down in most parts of the country, but deaths are on the rise. And with flu season right around the corner, health experts are worried about dealing with two major public health emergencies at once. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Back here at home, $30 million in donations now going toward helping people in our community. Those donations part of USAA's Military Family Relief Initiative. It is the largest one-time philanthropic contribution in USAA's nearly 100-year history. The donation will help our military community more easily navigate the challenges like extended deployments and an increased risk of job loss and loss of earnings. The money will be given to 24 organizations which support the military community.
The LA teams are struggling in the playoffs so far. Last night, the Clippers took a hit from the Mavs. Larry Ramirez has your highlights coming up in sports.
To empower and inspire, that's the mission of a local nonprofit. After the break, Alicia Barrera explains how they're sticking to their goal in the middle of the pandemic. The first week of the new school year wrapping up, and some parents, students, and teachers are still figuring out what works and what doesn't for distance learning. Girls Inc. of San Antonio opening its doors to help find a quiet and supervised space for girls in grades 3rd through 8th. Alicia Barrera visited the nonprofit's campus and has more on resources available and who qualifies.
Good afternoon. Well, the mission to inspire and empower young girls continues for the nonprofit Girls Inc. And right now, in the middle of a pandemic, they say that specifically is with supporting their education and helping them navigate through this new process. Whether your daughter's school uses Google Classroom, Canvas, Seesaw, Microsoft Teams, Schoology, and the list of classroom software goes on, Girls Inc.'s trained program facilitators are here to help navigate. So far, only about a dozen girls' parents have signed them up for Girls Inc.'s new program, Smart Eye Cafe. And this program provides a safe and supervised environment for online courses for any school. The only requirement is that they must be in 3rd through 8th grade. And Leah Rosenauer, Girls Inc. president and CEO, admits there have been a few hiccups they've come across during the first day of class, but the girls say the program facilitators have done an excellent job at helping them figure it out.
We can help with homework, assignments, logging in, and then when school's done for the day, whether that's half a day, 3 o'clock, we have space. So we can have fun and we can, do things that just engage the girls with others, with friends, with, new friends in a safe space. Girls need to bring their device. So if they're a tablet or a laptop or a Chromebook, they need to bring their password and logon information if they have it, and they need to bring a sack lunch.
For those that don't have a device, Girls Inc. says they'll work closely with the schools and school districts to make sure the girls have exactly what they need to be strong, smart, and bold. And this program is set to run until September 11th. And parents, if you are interested, know that there is a small fee for you to participate of $12 a day. All these funds will go straight back to Smart Eye Cafe to purchase additional cleaning supplies and personal protective equipment for the girls and staff. For a link on how to register, you can head over to KSAT.com. Reporting Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Outside with live cam, things pretty standard around here, normal for this time of year. What's not normal is what's going on in the southern Atlantic with a bunch of storms. Justin Horn's been at his computer all morning, and he's getting kind of giddy about these storms. He'll have that for us coming up. Giddiness.
Welcome back. Before the break, we talked about things getting active in the Atlantic. They certainly are. We've got one hurricane out here in the Pacific. That's Hurricane Genevieve. This isn't going to have any effect on us, but does show you that, yes, things are busy in the tropics. Otherwise, we have Now newly formed Tropical Depression 14, Tropical Depression 13 out there, and then possibly some new development just off the coast of Africa. We're starting to move into the peak of hurricane season, so it's not a surprise. And this year we are expecting a pretty busy year. But these are the two systems that we definitely want to focus on here. Tropical Depression number 13 and Tropical Depression number 14. Looks like these could develop into tropical storms as they work their way west and off to the northwest. Right now, winds are at about 35 miles per hour with both of them, by the way. But the latest hurricane tracks, or the latest tracks with the hurricane center, I should say, take these towards Cuba Sunday morning, this one towards Cuba Sunday morning, and this one towards the Yucatan Sunday morning. And then we'll go forward into next week. Right now, some of the models do take these systems into the Gulf. This one as a Category 1 hurricane, this one is a tropical storm. But there's still not a lot of confidence as to where these will go. There's still a lot of uncertainty with the models, and it's still something we need to watch. It could have some impacts on Texas, but it's just too early to tell just yet what those impacts will be and whether or not we'll get moisture from it. The hope always is that we get some moisture and some rain, but we don't necessarily want a hurricane or any destruction or anything like that. We'll definitely keep you posted. We've got some time to watch both of these systems. Meantime, across the state of Texas, we've got some showers up there in North Texas, some cloud cover. That is shifting south, but I don't think these showers make it here. Things are going to stay relatively dry today. The air is dry. We've got low dew points. We saw that yesterday. Made for nice evenings, but some very hot temperatures during the afternoon. You see some of these clouds moving in here. That's sort of just ground clutter, by the way. Or if it is any precipitation, it's definitely not reaching the ground. We'll see some of those clouds off and on today. And then as we get into tomorrow, it does look like we could see a couple of isolated showers or storms pop up. Stray shower storm right now, just a 10% chance of rain. I'll also want to watch what comes out of the north Saturday morning. Complex of showers and storms could develop. If it does, there's a slight chance it makes it all the way down to San Antonio. So we'll put in a slight chance of rain Saturday morning. But most of your weekend looks good. Here's a look at the time lapse this morning. Beautiful sunrise. And you can see just some mostly sunny conditions working through. 93 degrees at the airport. Dew point is at 62. And we've got calm winds. Dew point once again is going to fall off today. And we'll have that dry air in place. 92 Kerrville, 92 in Los Maples, 93 right now, Hondo 92 out there at Randolph, and looking at 95 Cotulla, 97 right now in Del Rio. And the dew points I mentioned falling off into the 50s this evening, so the dry air mass is there. Forecast for today up around 102. We were at 103 yesterday. Northeasterly winds generally pretty light, 5 to 10. 101 tomorrow, 10% chance of rain, 20% chance Friday night to Saturday morning. Otherwise, around 100 this weekend, hot on Monday, and maybe, just maybe, some rain chances next week, depending on what happens with the tropics, guys.
Ooh, look at that, 97 degrees.
Are you excited about tonight?
Yeah.
Spurs fans pretty excited about tonight.
They are pretty excited.
Yeah.
You know who else is excited? San Antonio FC fans. Yeah, too? Because San Antonio FC definitely has something special going on. They won again last night to remain undefeated, and it is a big day for Pop, RC, and Spurs fans. Coming up.
It was great. We tried this serious. Like I said, when I came here, we're better mood today. And, we just got 3 left. And I think we can fight for it.
Luka picked up his first NBA playoff win to help the Mavs even their playoff series with the Clippers in Big Board Sports. Tonight's the night for Pop, RC, and the Spurs. NBA draft lottery for the 14 NBA teams that didn't make the playoffs. The last time the Spurs were in the NBA draft lottery was 1997. They won the #1 pick and drafted Tim Duncan. Now there's no TD-like player in this year's draft. Still, it's a big night for the Silver and Black, who don't have the best odds to win the top spot. The Spurs have a 2% chance of winning the #1 pick tonight. Their chances increase ever so slightly for picks 2, 3, and 4. Overall, they have just under a 10% chance of getting a top 4 pick. Their most probable pick is 11th overall with a 77.6% chance. Luka Doncic and the Mavericks dominated the Clippers last night, leading the entire game. Luka was awesome. Behind the back pass to Kristaps Porzingis for 3. Then Luka feeds Porzingis for some jam. Luka scored or assisted on the Mavericks' first 15 points of the game. He was certainly dialed in. Second quarter, Luka drives and finds Boban for an easy slam dunk. Boban, a fan fave here, with 13 points and 9 rebounds. Porzingis scored 23. Luka had 28 points, 7 assists, 12 rebounds. Dallas led by as many as 18, and they beat the Clippers 127-114. The 7th-seeded Mavs feel they can upset number 2 in the West.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, any series we're gonna go in. We're gonna believe that we can win for sure. If you don't believe it, you're not supposed to be here. So you gotta believe every time.
Game 3 is tomorrow night in Orlando. And other scores from yesterday: the Raptors beat the Nets 104-99 and lead that series 2-0. Utah hammered the Nuggets 124-105, tying that series at 1-1. Boston knocked off the Sixers by 27 to go up 2-0, and the Mavs and Clippers are now tied at 1-1. In soccer, San Antonio FC is still undefeated after beating OKC Energy FC last night at Toyota Field 4-0. Goals from Luis Solanak, PC, Mitchell Tainer, and Gonzalo De Renzo earned the Alamo City Club its biggest win of the season to remain unbeaten in 2020. SAFC scored in the 3rd minute, and they never looked back.
Definitely strong showing from start to finish. Incredibly proud of the guys. We put forth 2 objectives tonight, and that was to be committed to apply high intensity in attack, high intensity when we press, and we felt the guys executed that well.
SAFC is now 5-0-3 and leads Group D with 18 points. They'll play again on Saturday, August 22nd, 8 p.m., hosting FC Tulsa at Toyota Field.
So I seen why now SC fans are so. Exactly,
man.
Gotcha.
They got something special, I'm telling you.
They do. Well, maybe they'll be rooting for the Spurs tonight, too.
Yeah, there you go.
Larry, thanks. The Democratic Party's major figure out in full force presenting their vision for the nation, but also targeting President Trump. We'll look at day 3 at the Democratic National Convention, plus what we can expect tonight coming up in the next half hour.
Major fashion brands joining the fight against COVID-19. They're coming out with clothing they say can inactivate most germs and viruses. But how well does it work, and is it necessary? That story still ahead in your consumer news.
And with more people at home, your energy bill might be increasing. And if you're looking for ways to save money, you might want to start in the kitchen. Coming up today at 5. A few simple changes in your upkeep with your refrigerator, dishwasher, and even your pots and pans can save money in the long run.
We have some late-breaking news on the Northwest Side. Police investigating a suspicious death here. This is in the 8900 block of Maverick Draw.
26-year-old mom lives with the kids at home, ages 5 and 8-year-old. She texted grandma about mom being on the floor. Grandmother came over and found mom on the floor. She was dead. Children have been removed and are with family. Foul play is suspected.
Other breaking news, former White House advisor Steve Bannon has been arrested on charges that he and 3 others ripped off donors to an online fundraising scheme, We Build the Wall. Federal prosecutors say Bannon and 3 others orchestrated a scheme to defraud hundreds of thousands of donors in connection with an online crowdfunding campaign. That campaign raised more than $25 million to build a wall along the southern border of the United States. The indictment says, though, that Bannon received more than $1 million himself, using some of that money to pay a co-defendant and hundreds of thousands more to cover Bannon's personal expenses.
This evening will be the final night of this year's Democratic National Convention. Joe Biden will accept his party's nomination for president in front of his colleagues during a speech at Wilmington. Yesterday, his running mate Kamala Harris accepted the party's nomination for vice president, officially becoming the first black woman and first person of Indian descent to be nominated for a nation's highest office by a major political party. Also on day 3, former President Barack Obama spoke and targeted President Donald Trump, saying he's a threat to democracy. Harris focused on her upbringing, paying tribute to her mother, but she did also take time to take the president to task.
Donald Trump's failure of leadership has cost lives and livelihoods. We must elect a president who will bring something different, something better, and do the important work. A president who will bring all of us together.
Hillary Clinton also spoke during the convention, and she urged Democrats to get out and vote.
Iran's state TV reporting the country has now unveiled 2 new missiles. This amid tensions between Iran and the United States. Both missiles revealed today have been named after a top Iranian general and an Iraqi militia leader who were both killed outside of Baghdad's international airport in a U.S. airstrike back in January. According to state TV and news agency, the Martyr Hajj Qassam surface-to-surface ballistic missile has an 870-mile range. The Martyr Abu Mahdi naval cruise missile has a 620-mile range.
The World Health Organization's office in Europe says they are having discussions with Russia to get more information about the experimental COVID-19 vaccine that country recently approved. Russia is the first country in the world to license a coronavirus vaccine. However, the vaccine has not yet passed the advanced trials normally required to prove it works. Russian officials say the vaccine would give lasting immunity to COVID-19, but offered no proof. The vaccine was approved by Vladimir Putin last week. The state of Michigan has agreed to pay $600 million to compensate Flint residents whose health has been affected by lead-tainted water. Thousands of people have sued the state for its role in the water crisis. That whole catastrophe began back in 2014 when Flint switched its water source from the city of Detroit to the Flint River to save money. Lead from pipes contaminated the water.
Now to the devastating wildfires across California. They are now scorching more than 100,000 acres. They forced massive evacuations, and at this point they're covering much of the state with clouds of smoke. ABC's Clayton Sandell is on the ground in Solano County with more.
Here in Solano County, California, we're about 60 miles northeast of San Francisco. This morning, we're not seeing those big raging flames, but we are seeing plenty of hot spots like this one and getting a better idea of all of the devastation that these fires are causing. We're also getting word of new evacuations at Travis Air Force Base in Solano County. And the numbers here are just astounding. Firefighters telling us that just one group of wildfires burning here tripled in size in just one day, destroying more than 100 homes and threatening 25,000 more. And keep in mind, there are 4 big groups of wildfires burning here right now. We keep hearing words like historic and unprecedented from firefighters. They tell us that over the last few days, they have tracked nearly 11,000 lightning strikes that have triggered 367 new fires. We are also now hearing about our first firefighting-related deaths. An electrical worker from Vacaville, California, died while assisting first responders on this fire. And also, a firefighting helicopter pilot was killed when a helicopter went down on a blaze in Fresno County. That person was the only one on board. Clayton Sandell, ABC News, Solano County, California.
Outside with live cam, 93 right now, but the future looks pretty good because we're not going to get triple digits maybe in the next few days.
Well, today we are, aren't we?
Today, but potentially down the line, it's looking a little bit better, guys, as we go forward in time. Hopefully we'll get some more cloud cover, maybe some moisture next week. In the meantime, there is also an ozone action day in effect today because there will be some higher levels of ozone. Just a heads up, that combined with the mold was real high yesterday. It has come down some. It's at 1460 today, but still in the high category. Just a heads up, may have some stuffy noses out there. Temperature set 93 right now, Comfort, 90 in Bernie Stage, 89 Kingdom Lake, 95 in New Braunfels. I see some of the clouds working north to south across the area. These are pretty thin, not going to be a big deal. So we'll see mostly sunny skies today, but temperatures are very quickly rising, and it's going to be another day in the triple digits. We'll go 102 today. We were at 103 yesterday, so maybe a degree cooler if we're lucky. Still some dry air, too. Lower dew points. We'll see those temperatures fall off to about 90 this evening. Again, still some active weather in the Atlantic. We're going to get the latest on what's going on down there in the Caribbean coming up here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. It's Throwback Thursday, and today we are taking a look at the history behind one of the city's most Instagrammable spots, how this mosaic on the west side came to be. Still ahead.
And the Astros are on a little roll. How good are they these days? Larry Maris has that coming up in sports.
Back to the movies. AMC Theaters back in business, opening 100 theaters across the country today. And they're lowering the cost of a ticket to prices no one's seen since the 1920s. We have details after the break.
This is your daily tech and business briefing from Cheddar. AMC Theaters, the largest theater chain in the country, will finally reopen its doors after being closed for nearly 5 months. The company set to open 100 U.S. theaters today, with 300 more to follow in the coming week. As part of a promotion to get people in those seats, AMC will offer tickets on opening day for just 15 cents. Instagram rolling out a new feature that will make it even harder to stop scrolling on the social media app. The company launching a new feature called Suggested Posts that will show up at the bottom of users' feeds. The feature will show you posts you may like based on similar posts that you've interacted with. Previously, Instagram has shown users a message at the bottom of their feed saying that they're all caught up and there is no more content to see. With Suggested Posts, users will now have the option to keep scrolling past that marker for additional content. Goodyear shares plunging yesterday, slipping to an intraday low of $9.15 after President Trump sent out a tweet calling for a boycott of the tire company, saying it banned MAGA hats. Goodyear issued a statement following the president's tweet stating, quote, "The visual in question was not created or distributed by Goodyear Corporate." And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Hannah Doba, coming to you from New York City.
COVID-19 now sparking a new fashion trend, anti-microbial clothing. Companies like Artistic Denim Mills plan on rolling out anti-microbial technology as early as next week. In July, denim brand Diesel announced they would also use a virus-fighting technology for certain jeans through a partnership with Swedish firm Polygiene. They produce Viral Off. It's a product that claims to disable 99% of viral activity in 2 hours. Polygiene says the treatment inactivates the virus when it attaches to fabric. The companies say the goal is to give consumers peace of mind, but some experts think antimicrobial clothing might not be necessary.
At this time, I don't think you need to spend a lot of money buying this kind of clothing. We know that COVID-19 is really spread person to person via the eyes, the nose, and the mouth, via respiratory droplets, not by the clothing.
Experts say there are no studies showing that the virus lives on clothing. So I guess you're good with your Wranglers and your Levi's.
Live look outside with Live Cam. We're looking at another triple-digit day, but it's what's going on in the Gulf that's got our Justin Horn all of Twitter.
Well, there is some activity out there. We're going to be keeping a close eye on it next couple of days. Still a lot of uncertainty there, so no reason to panic just yet for anybody along the Gulf Coast. Just something that we need to watch. 93 degrees so far today. 74 was the low this morning. Averages are 96 and 75. Records are 107 and 65. We did get down into the low 70s this morning. We didn't get down to a record low. 107 was set back in 1909. No rainfall. We could use some. There is a little bit in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up.
In this week's Throwback Thursday, it has become an iconic symbol in San Antonio, the Virgin of Guadalupe mosaic on the side of the Guadalupe Cultural Arts Center. For hundreds of years, the Virgin of Guadalupe has represented so much to so many. That is why artist Jesse Trevino decided to create this incredible piece of art starting back in 2001. It took several years to complete, but the inspirational work was unveiled in December of 2004. It depicts the Virgin of Guadalupe votive candle. La Veladora is a three-dimensional mosaic that stands 40 feet tall. It is the largest mosaic of the Virgin of Guadalupe ever created. Trevino has many works of art around San Antonio, but this one may be the most historic and emotional for him and those who enjoy it.
We are looking at the Gulf, but we don't want anyone to panic. That's the trick. Too early.
Way too early.
Mm-hmm. Way too early. A lot of questions still there. We'll get to that in just a second. We got to talk about the drought, though, because it continues to settle in here. We could use some rain. We haven't gotten a whole lot last couple days. I mean, some people in spots have, but Not enough, because the drought is really starting to build in. You see the moderate drought now starting to stretch into Bexar County. We've got the extreme drought out there around Uvalde and stretching south, and then around Del Rio too. So rain would be really good. This summer has not been so good to us when it comes to rainfall. We may get a little bit of a change in pattern as we get to next week, even some tropical moisture potentially. We'll talk about that in just a second. But 48% of the state in drought. A week ago, it was 40%, so you can see the increase there. Here's the setup. We have our ridge 5 pressure still out over the western states. A lot of heat underneath there, still causing lots of problems for the folks out in California with fires and all. We've got a northerly flow here, so that is taking some energy south towards us, but it's also pushing in some drier air, so we just haven't been able to get the rain going. Well, certainly not yesterday, not today. Now, as we get into tomorrow, there could be another little piece of energy that works north to south, and there could be some more moisture in place tomorrow, so maybe an isolated shower storm. That'll be the case Saturday morning, too. These showers you see here across North Texas will likely stay there this afternoon. We're just going to get some cloud cover streaming in, some high clouds, and we do notice a few cumulus clouds trying to bubble up there in Rialto County. We'll keep an eye on it, but I think most of us are going to stay dry today. This computer model does depict a few showers out west. I just think it's a little too dry at the surface for that to happen. Meantime, as we get into tomorrow, 1 or 2 showers possible, and then Friday night into Saturday morning, that's the time frame I want to watch. We could see some energy, at least a complex of showers and storms coming out of North Texas. Would they hold together all the way down here? Not likely, but it's possible, so we'll put some rain chances in Saturday morning. Meantime, outside, 93 degrees. We're warming up quick. Dew points on the lower side, 62, calm winds. We don't have much of a heat index because of that lower humidity. 89 Canyon Lake, 95 in New Braunfels, 94 Comfort, 94 right now in Tarpley. You've got 95 in Carrizo Springs and all the way up to 97 in Del Rio. Those dew points, just like yesterday, will fall off during the afternoon, which will allow those numbers probably to get into the low 100s yet again. 102, the expected high in San Antonio, 101 Gonzales, and we're not going to worry about the heat index too much today. Meantime, out in the tropics, this is where it gets busy. We've got Hurricane Genevieve in the Pacific. That's not going to be a big deal for us, but we've got a couple of depressions we got to watch. Another system that's coming off the coast of Africa, but it's really these two systems here that will pose a threat here over the next week or so. Potentially for the United States, as we put the tracks on them here. And this is from the Hurricane Center. And keep in mind, these forecast fans, there can be a lot of error here. So there's still a lot of time that we have to watch. There could be some changes in the path here, but this gives us a general idea. Potentially a tropical storm coming into the Gulf of Mexico. And then this has a potential hurricane strength system of hurricane strength coming into the Gulf from the east. This would be middle part of next week. Could it throw some moisture our direction? Sure, but it's just a little too early to tell. Bottom line, we just need to be prepared and keep an eye on this activity as it moves potentially in our direction. So the forecast for today, 102, mostly sunny skies, northeasterly winds 5 to 10, and look for 101 tomorrow, 99 on Saturday. There's that slight chance Saturday morning, and maybe some more chances down the line next week. Guys?
Thank you, Justin.
A good look at 97 you got there.
That's the only one I'm looking at.
Some good looking quarterback prospects for the UTSA Roadrunners.
Yeah, they got 4 guys in particular competing for QB1, and those 4 guys all have FBS game experience, so it is definitely going to be a heated battle. We got more on that coming up, and Aggies quarterback Kellen Mond has a request for his fellow classmates coming up. UTSA Roadrunners are now in week 2 of their fall camp, but the competition for starting quarterback is heating up. 4 guys are competing for the job, including Frank Harris, who aggravated a shoulder injury against North Texas in the 4th game last season, and he was out. Now enter former Smithson Valley Ranger quarterback Josh Atkins, who transferred from New Mexico State, and the pair will compete against Lowell Narcisse and Jordan Weeks. Following their first scrimmage Saturday, Coach Traylor was asked yesterday if anyone has separated themselves from the rest.
Couldn't be more proud of that group. One day one will have a slightly better day, the next day the next one will step up, but all 4 of them have represented themselves very well. They've busted their tails, they've gotten better, and each one of them has an aspect of their game that's unique from the other one. And I'd pick any of the 4 and feel confident we could go win football games.
And the NCAA Division I Council says that fall sports student athletes can compete in any amount of competitions this year, and it will not count as a season of eligibility. This still has to be approved by NCAA Board of Governors. Texas A&M starting quarterback Kellen Mond wants to make the most of his senior season, but first he needs a senior season, which isn't guaranteed. The Pac-12 and Big Ten canceled fall sports due to COVID-19 concerns, and Mond doesn't want to see the SEC do the same thing, so he offered a plea to his fellow Texas A&M classmates.
If the student body could just help us, wear your mask, limit the partying, and football players, we're not even partying or doing all that stuff right now. I don't even think there's time for it, but if they could limit that and try to stay as healthy as possible, I think that'll definitely help us. And especially in College Station with a large body of students, I think if they're able to do that, then we're definitely going to have a season.
Head coach Jimbo Fisher said A&M currently has no COVID-19 cases among players, although 2 are quarantined. Astros are on a serious roll, the hottest team in baseball right now, top 5 at the Rockies, tied at 1. Carlos Correa gets a ball he likes and hooks it down the left field line, and it's just fair. Solo shot, and the Astros take the lead for good, 2-1, his 3rd homer this season. Kyle Tucker had the biggest bat yesterday, going 4 for 5 with a homer and this 2-run triple in the 6th. He knocked in 4 runs. Houston had 20 hits to hammer the Rockies by the final of 13-6, so they've now won 7 straight. On the flip side, the Rangers have lost 4 in a row after falling to the Padres 6-3 in 10 innings. And just a reminder, the Spurs are part of the NBA draft lottery tonight at 7:30. They have a 2% chance to win the first pick in the NBA draft, so that's still better than no chance.
Hey, you're saying they got a chance.
That's right.
That's good. Better than nothing.
Almost nothing.
Almost, but
if you missed the SA Live Back to School special in primetime last night, they are bringing it back again this afternoon.
So much great information about digital learning, tech at home, frugal fashion finds, and how kids feel about going to school in 2020, and of course, free food for the kids.
All right, Mike and Fiona, take it away.
Yep, it is back to school time, and we are here for our back to school special in prime time at Sunshine Cottage School for deaf children.
And you know what? He calls us all the time for, tech support, so we sent him to Best Buy.
Yes, because think about last year when the school year ended and all those Zoom meetings you had going on and the learning at home, and could your house handle it, the Wi-Fi network? No, we've got some great tips from Best Buy.
And we want to see your school spirit. Let us know at SA Live KSAT on Facebook and Twitter. Maybe you've got your old letter jacket. Maybe you have some pictures of you in sports. Send them in.
Yeah.
We'd love to see them.
And we want to know how the kids feel about this new school year, because some folks are going to be learning at home and there's the distancing and everything like that. So we're going to hear from the students themselves.
So adorable.
I know.
And of course, back to school fashion with Revolution Thrift. This is a great way to find some great deals and even learning supplies for kids, and you're giving back to the community.
Our good friend Karen Mead is going to help us get all organized for school as well.
All that and so much more in just a few minutes on SA Live's Back to School special in prime time, brought to you by Sunshine Cottage School for Deaf Children.